Hi, this is Nick from PrimeLoops.com. Today I want to go over the fundamentals of an audio filter, specifically what the controls do and what the various filter curves mean. Now, like all of our concise guide tutorials, it's important to note that although I'll be showing you the crayon filter specifically, all the knowledge that I'll be sharing with you here is applicable to any kind of filter that you want to use, whether it be hardware or any other kind of software filter. So let's get to it. So what is a filter? It's basically a way to attenuate or emphasize certain frequencies in your sound. Just about every filter that's out there has the ability to choose the frequency that's being filtered, and just what kind of filtering is being performed using filter curves. The most important controls on the filter are frequency and resonance. Frequency, which is also known as cutoff on some filters, allows you to determine what frequency the filter is acting upon. Resonance creates an emphasis or gain increase at whatever frequency is set at. So if I have frequency set at 740 Hz, for instance, resonance at 45% will be creating a gain increase at 740 Hz. Now, taken alone, the frequency and resonance parameters don't mean a whole lot unless you actually know what filter type you're working with, and that's what these little shapes are up here. The most basic kinds of filters are low pass and high pass, so we'll go over those first. A low pass filter allows everything below whatever the frequency control is set at to pass through unaffected. Anything above that frequency will be rolled off according to this curve. And then of course resonance will create an emphasis at whatever frequency is set at. So the end result is that you're rolling off the high frequencies down to whatever the frequency control is set at, and then resonance is creating a little bit of a gain boost at that frequency setting. A high pass filter is exactly the opposite of a low pass filter. Everything above whatever frequency is set at passes through unaffected, and everything below is cut out. Resonance works the same way as it did for the low-pass filter, creating an emphasis at whatever frequency is set at. Let's try out these two types of filters on some audio. I've loaded up a drum loop here from our Breakbeat Electronica sample pack. First I'll bypass the filter and let you hear the sound unaffected. Now let's apply a low-pass filter to this sound. Starting with the frequency all the way up and resonance all the way down, I'll turn the low pass setting on, and as I bring the frequency control down, you'll start to hear the high frequencies disappear from the loop. As you can hear, when I have frequency turned all the way down, only frequencies at 50 Hz and below are coming through and being audible. Everything above that is taken out of the mix. So now let's add the resonance control in and you can see how it affects the sound. As you could hear, when I started turning resonance up, the gain around whatever frequency was set at started to increase, giving the sound a kind of ringing quality. When I left resonance alone and went back to tweaking just frequency, you could hear that at every step along the way of tweaking the frequency parameter, the resonance was creating a little bit of a gain increase. Let's try this out with the high pass filter now. Now everything below the cutoff frequency is being cut out, and only the frequencies above the frequency parameter are getting through. Resonance works the same way here as it did with the low-pass filter, creating a little bit of a gain boost at the frequency setting. Moving on to the other filter shapes, we have a bandpass filter. The best way to think about a bandpass filter is combining a low-pass filter and a high-pass filter at the same time. The frequency control defines the center of a band of frequencies that will pass through and thus be audible. The resonance control performs its usual function of creating a little bit of a gain increase at the frequency setting, but additionally it defines the width of the band of frequencies that passes through. So as I turn resonance up, the gain at the frequency setting will increase, but also the band of frequencies that actually gets through becomes narrower and narrower. Here's what it sounds like. With a bandpass filter, everything below and above that band of frequencies that's allowed to pass through is cut out and no longer audible. Moving on to the notch filter, this is essentially the opposite of a bandpass filter. Now, instead of defining a band of frequencies that will allow through, we're actually defining a band of frequencies that won't make it through. So everything below and above that band of frequencies will be audible, and anything within that band of frequencies will be cut out. Here's what it sounds like. As you could hear when I increased the resonance control, it had the same effect that it did with the bandpass filter. It both created a gain increase at the frequency setting and also made the band of frequencies narrower, except this time that band was being cut out rather than allowed through. The last type of filter is a unique one that I haven't seen on too many filters. The peaking filter again allows you to define a band of frequencies like you did with the notch filter and the bandpass filter, but now everything above and below that band of frequencies remains unaffected, rather than only being cut out or allowed through. Everything within the band of frequencies is increased in gain over this curve. This is different conceptually from a notch or a bandpass filter, because none of the frequencies actually get rejected. The frequencies outside of the band that you've defined with frequency and resonance will simply be left unaffected, and the frequencies inside of the band will be increased in gain. Here's what it sounds like. So I hope this short discussion of filtering has given you a good introduction to the concept, and I think you'll agree that it's pretty simple once you start putting it into practice. I'll see you next time for more music production tips and tricks. Stay creative.